and so I'm not making a statement as to I think that he has done something wrong, but just in general, I find it interesting that the conflict of interest that was talked about in reference to ZBA would also apply here, that any attorney, when the only person that's protected by the attorney-client privilege in that sense is you, the client, it's the city. So the city, I think it was Tom, maybe you raised the point of maybe somebody would try to sue the city later for disclosing too much. Well, you're the city, I mean, you're the client, you're the only one that can raise that privilege. But what is concerning to me, and again, this is not personal for Mr. Craft, I'm not saying he did anything wrong, I don't have any reason to believe that he did. But any attorney who is being asked an opinion on whether or not you guys should be disclosing his own bills because someone in the community is alleging that there is bill padding by that attorney, there's obviously a conflict of interest there. There's a self-interest to make sure that that information does not get out. So I would just ask you to consider that. Regardless of whether, I realize that your comments, Mr. Jones and yours, Mr. Gunderson, are, we either have to, or you as counsel either have to take his opinion on this or totally get another city attorney, and that's one way to look at it. But I would argue you don't necessarily have to get a whole new city attorney when there's something like this and there's a specific conflict of interest, that it would be wise to perhaps get another opinion about that, but it doesn't mean you need to totally throw away that attorney-client relationship that you have with that law firm or with that particular attorney. Again, I just want to make it perfectly clear, I'm not saying Mr. Carter has done anything wrong. That would be no matter who the attorney was. If it was me that was representing you, I would hope that you would look at that and ask a different attorney. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments?
Robert Thompson, 330 Hall Street, Belding, Michigan. As you guys will be working on after during the work session, I have submitted my resume and application to be an interim city manager. I feel that I have a lot of skills that we have not brought to this position. We have a wonderful city, and seems like all I see in the paper or anyplace else is all the negatives. And this town has so many gems. We have newly renovated schools. We have with very high accreditations. We have the Campbellstone Inn and wonderful golf courses in the area. We have lakes and water sports. We have the Flag River. We have multiple walking paths. We have built this city up, and over the last 2 decades, we've paid consultants quite a bit of money to get this city ready to sell. And it's like the old adage, build a better mousetrap and everybody will beat a path to it. Doesn't seem to be working. We need to do a little marketing. We tried that a few years ago and it fell flat. We did the DVDs incorrectly and nobody took any interest in it. I've been on city council 3 times, been mayor pro tem a couple of times, planning commission several times. I've been on library board and museum board. I think this town needs to have 2 major things brought to it, and I think during an interim, my reason for going in the interim is we got to take a little time out. We got to get a breath of fresh air. We got to look for a city manager who's going to give us a long-term benefit and take our sweet time finding the right person. And then we have to quit having nasty news presentations all the time. We need to start marketing this. Greenville just announced they were going to start marketing. Well, by the looks of that, they started a long time ago. So is Ionia and Lowell. We also need strategic planning. I think that's the stem of many of the problems. Something I'm very much into and have been in many businesses I've been in. Planning isn't just for planning commission or for other things. Planning commission, or the strategic planning means bringing the citizens in, having work days with them on a Saturday where we all come in and we all sit down and we all find the good and bad. And then we spend some time with it and we find out what we can afford to do this year and what we can afford to do next year. And have a real live plan that lasts over 6 months. So anyway, my final comment is I love this city. I plan on being here for the rest of my life, which I hope is a little while. And I would certainly like to work for the city council, and I would like to give you guys the opportunity to do some things a little different, and also give you some time to look at some of the people that may come, may put in applications or resumes that could be excellent city managers for us in the future. But let's take some time and do it the right way. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I just had a couple ideas here. I saw the list of interims that we have from MML. Nobody's from anywhere around here. They all seem to be pretty far away. It's been said that we need somebody from outside that would bring in new ideas. We've had outside managers. We've had managers that come here from other towns. We've had that for a long time. I really feel that we need to get somebody that's from Belding, that knows Belding. I don't think we need to bring somebody in to bring in new ideas. I think we have people here that have new ideas, that have good ideas for this town, that know what this town needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Any other citizen comments? Seeing none, we will close citizen comments. Becky, do you have any report for us tonight? Okay. Council comments. Mike?
I'm glad to see so many people here. I'm glad to see we got so many that applied for the ZBA. I do believe we need to just double check with somebody on this for you, just to make damn sure. And that's what I was trying to get my point across, was that it was a conflict of interest for Randy to be doing it, even if somebody else in his firm, for that matter, that can give us a second opinion. I don't think that would be a problem. I mean, we just need to make sure we don't miss something, that's all. Other than that, that's it.
Mike? Karen?
A few things. I also want to thank all the citizens for showing up to the DEQ meeting. Also, want to thank Senator Mike House, who showed up as well to voice his concerns for our community. You know, I like the idea when we get the summary back in, the report, that we, you know, I guess we get the whole community involved and we discuss the property and decide what we're going to do with it, because it is the city's, it's not just ours. I think it's important that we include everybody and get their comments as far as what we're going to do with that property. But I think that's important. I also want to acknowledge the, like I was at the basketball game on Friday. I want to thank their efforts and the community event they had on Friday. Well attended. I don't think they sold out like they wanted to, but it was well attended, and I was there, and what an atmosphere. You really have to be there to appreciate it. And lastly, There is a blood drive on Friday at the Bell Community Room, Bell Rockland Community Room. It's in memory of Desi Hall. She volunteered quite a bit for the American Red Cross, and American Red Cross has put on the blood drive, and that's on Friday, February 6th at 12 to 5:45. So if you can get over there and donate blood in Desi Hall's memory, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Tom?
To clarify my statement with the attorneys, the redacting, I don't have a problem with the line item stuff, or the line item of the bills. My only concern is maybe some names might need to be blanked out for redacting for FOIA. And as for reviewing it, whether somebody else in their law, in Barnum law firm does it, or if we ask, have somebody at the city approach the Attorney General's office to make, ask them if they can tell us what can and can't be retracted out of something like that. I don't have a problem with second opinion. I just, if we're gonna trust our lawyers, or, the firm we name, then we need to do it. And with the BZA filling, it looks like all the positions there, we're still short 2 planning commission members. So anybody that is interested on serving on the planning commission, please, get with Corinne or somebody at the city hall and get an application and submit your name. We'd be happy to have you at our meetings. Rec board, rec board. And I'd like to thank Green, Becky, and Ron in particular, or all 3 of them in particular, and the rest of the city staff for stepping up and taking care of the vacancy of city manager at this point. I think they've all taken on more on their plate than maybe what they need to. And like I said, I'd like to thank Ron in particular for doing what he's had to do and getting things done. I think that's one reason I have confidence in Ron in the position. As mayor, I think he does what's best for the city and does a good job at it.
I'll second that.
I think that's pretty much everything.
Thank you, Tom. Dennis?
I don't want to keep reiterating our point, but in terms of our FOIA situation, I do think we need to look into that a little deeper. It's done differently than what we're doing it in our community, and I think it's obvious that something's not right when we have citizens FOIA those bills and they're getting everything redacted except for what you can find in a check register. Something's not right. So we need to hammer that out and get it figured out. As I said, I'm not a proponent of withholding information whatsoever from people. On another note, I'm glad that we have the ZBA hammered out, that we're moving forward with that, and hopefully we can keep continuing, progress our city forward. Other than that, I hope everyone's staying warm with our chilly weather and our newfound snow that we got over the last few days. So.
Thank you, Dennis. Coffee with Council, I started that 3 years ago, well over 3 years ago. It was well intent, it worked out well. I do feel it's run its course at this point in time. I will be shutting that down. It was meeting from 10 to 1 on Mondays before the council meeting, and it's just turned into a gathering point at this point in time. So I have enough meetings to go to and other things to do that I will be shutting that down. It was 3 years that Joe and I spent a lot of time together by ourselves with no one showing up. Jerry stepped up to the plate after Joe was no longer up here. So I will be, as I said, shutting that down. To clarify the statement that was made about my wife Carla Gunderson being on the library board, I am strictly a liaison. I do not make a vote. I do not do that. So if there's an issue at city council level and someone else wants to be liaison to that, that's perfectly fine. I'm strictly there to do a report back to the city council. There's not been an issue in the past, so I thought I'd clarify that. The DEQ meeting, it was disappointing but yet very helpful. I believe they did listen. Public comment was by Senator Knopf was pretty much spot on as far as what needed to be done and what needed to happen in the future, especially with getting notices out to the public, how they need to be more often. It needs to be not just once in one location where material is dropped off at. So I do wish the community could have wrapped themselves around that a little bit more. I understand their schedules, people are busy and everything. I think that's a very important chunk of property over there, and I just really hope that it has nothing to do with the fence being up there. It has to do with the future, as I stated at the meeting. This isn't even for us that are sitting here, it's for future generations. So I hope that public comment that was made, that they take it to heart, that they make a determination on a different type of testing or a longer period of testing rather than just 2 years depending on end of the results on the test wells. I also would like to thank Becky and Crane and the whole City Hall for stepping up to the plate and during these trying times of trying to get things organized and trying to keep things moving forward. So, with that being said, next we'll move into a work session for an interim city manager candidates. Did everybody receive those packets? Yes. Yes.
Okay, Bob, no problem.
Mr. Mayor? May I interject something real quick?
Yes, sir, I will allow you to.
I understand there's a opening or two on the planning commission. If it's not a conflict of interest, if we find out it's not, I would gladly volunteer for that also.
If we get with Crane and
I will do that.
thank you. Okay. This work session is brought together because we are looking for an interim city manager to fulfill the requirements that we need within our city, within our boundaries of outside the, I guess you could say, the parameters of where Becky is qualified to do. So, The explanation for this was MML, they put on their website availability, they do not promote, they do not give any recommendations, but it offers interim city managers the opportunity to put their name on there with resumes. That was to try to be, I guess, conservative for the city. The Crean, our city clerk, took and drew from the local group. There was a total of 10, was there, Crean, altogether? There was a total of 10. Some already had other commitments, some declined. And we have 6 of them right now that are in front of us. Hoping everybody had a chance to look at these. What I'd like to do is take a similar consensus to what we did for the zoning board of appeals. Figure out where everybody's at. My hope would be that we could possibly get it down to 2, maybe 3 at the very most. We'll end up having, more than likely, a special meeting. What were the dates?
I think the 10th, 11th, and 12th, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yes.
Depending on your schedule.
Depending on everybody's schedule here. But that was the intent. If that was possible. Next time. So. That being said, we have a Donald P. Beavers. Just to make it easier for me, Dennis, we'll start with you.
Really, I had a chance to look through all these applications, and all these resumes, excuse me, and all of them are really, decorated. They all have experience. From what I understand, most of them have been in municipality work for quite some time. But with Don, I really had no issues with.
Mike?
Well, he's been out there doing it a long time. Apparently, he must have thrown a lot of, he's done several intern managers. Here, first 2, and then the third one, part-time intern. Been city manager at a couple of spots. Didn't really find much out of it, nothing wrong with it and stuff. Didn't see we had any real problems anyplace, but I mean, I don't have enough information either.
Here?
And I do the same thing, I use the internet quite a bit for a lot of research. The only thing I found on Mr. Beavers is that there was one gap in employment from Mackinac City, October 2011 to September 2012. And what I just found that he resigned less than a year into that appointment as village manager. After that time, it just looked to me like he went from resigning less than a year in, and then he went to the city of Bangor in February of 2013. And that's the only gap I can see there. It kind of just raised a question to me, that was it. Everything else, it looked like I don't see much of a gap as far as, that was at least, quite a few months. So that's the only thing I found out, so.
Thank you, Tom.
I understand interim means part-time or short-term, but it seems like permanent position. I'm just not sure if that's what we want.
That's one of the issues that I had also, Tom. I understand some of these strictly work when they want to, but this one I did not. This would not be on my list, put it that way, of an applicant.
I tried to call a couple people in Redmond that I knew, but they didn't answer, so I couldn't get any information from them.
Next, we have Bruce Brown. Yes.
I think, again, he's got a decorated resume. I think what I like best about him is he's a local guy compared to some of the other candidates, which I think he may be more available to our city. And again, I know it's a part-time, or a short-term position just to fill a void for us. But that really stuck out to me. Also, it looks like he's been with Port Huron for quite some time, if I'm reading that correctly. And has extensive experience in municipality work, blight elimination, economic development, and that sort of thing. So he would be, I think, one of my top candidates.
Thank you.
This man is 75 years old, and he has a very good reputation out there, just absolutely excellent wherever they can find on him. Yes, he was with Port Huron a long time, and that was supposed to have been a part-time position when he went there, the way I understand it. And, but his background, I mean, some of the stuff he's done as far as activities in real estate developments and economic development, and, I mean, this guy has done everything. He would be at the top of my list also.
Thank you. Jerry?
Yeah, he's at the top of mine as well. So things I did some research on him. Try to explain this best I can. If you look up his name and under City View and Port Huron, you'll find a link that he does he's been, when he was at Port Huron, he's done an interview with, and this is through, I think, EBW TV. But if you look up his name and just Google him, he does quite a bit of interviews with community members, community leaders, business owners, and it's a weekly interview process that he does, and he publishes it on TV. I really like that. He really, you really have to watch it because he interviews council members, he interviewed the new city manager that was coming in that he's helping transition. He interviews business owners and just getting to know them and getting the community to know them as well through an interview process through TV. So if you get a chance to look up his name, I really encourage you to do that. And something else that really stands out, and we mentioned Port Huron, and this is from the Herald Times on 6/21/2014, and I'll just give you some highlights. It states, for someone who was hired short-term, Bruce Brown has done what others in his position did. He became one of Port Huron's longest serving city managers. He goes on to say that Brown will retire at the end of, this is again 2014, but he will retire at the end of the month, but he wanted to stay on a year and a half to give the city more time to find somebody. Not too long ago, he blamed the news media for negativity in regard to city challenges of poverty, unemployment, and growth of rental properties. About 15 months later, he admitted he was wrong. The admission was a tribute to Brown's character as he looks to improve the city, and he took to improve city speak well of its leadership. Goes on to say in this article, and this is just, like I said, an opinion and editorial from the Times Herald. Under Brown's watch, Port Huron has seen improved cooperation between residents and their government. That might be especially true for downtown businesses. With the city's encouragement, the Central Business District has seen more activity and growth. Its business leaders have organized in a new Main Street, the downtown group that led the same area in the 1990s. And lastly, it just says that Port Huron isn't yet a vibrant city, but it's on its way, and Bruce Brown deserves all the credit. So, and these are just some things I found on him that made him stand out. I really couldn't find anything negative about him whatsoever.
Thank you, Gary. So?
Pretty much the same article that Jerry such read. During his 6 years, this is his resume he submitted. During his 6 years, his Port Huron concentrated on a number of action items that were necessary to bring vitality and growth to the city: economic development, reorganization of government functions, quality of life, blight elimination, and leadership development. Those are all things we've talked about in the council trying to get done. He's been involved with the Grand Rapids Chamber of Commerce, Grand Rapids Home Builders Association, been involved with the Grand Rapids Art Museum, the Symphony. And he'd be at the top of my list of the candidates we've looked at this point.
Thank you, Tom. Pretty much everything's been said that I had already found also about Mr. Brown. Nothing negative that stood out to me either when I looked at it. He would definitely be up there for me. So, next would be Lee Charles. Dennis?
From the looks of his resume, he has a variety of experiences. He's held city administrator positions at the town similar to ours in Belding, as well as communities that are much larger. Expertise is city planning, city management, financial administration, personal administration, public works, and a few others. I'm not saying that he wouldn't be adequate to fill our needs right now in the next 90 days. I just don't feel that he's up with a few of the other candidates, so.
Thank you, Dennis. Mike?
He's another one, he's not a young man. Got his undergraduate BA degree in 1964, and he has done a lot of things. And I found, there's something I found on him, I can't remember where it was at, it was really short, and it was
Harvard Beach.
Yeah, it was a Harvard Beach,
Harvard Beach.
yeah, it wasn't terrible, but, you know, it was still, he had a little bit of an issue there, so.
Here?
Yeah, I saw the same thing, Mike, as far as Harvard Beach goes, but that's the only thing that I found. But if we had to narrow it down to interviewing a couple of them, I think I would consider an interview with Mr. Charles. And that's where I'm at with them.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, acceptable, probably second on my list.
Thank you. I also agree with what Mike said. He's been around the block. He's got his feet wet. I believe for short term, this would be an excellent candidate to fill in the voids where we need to fill in the gaps from time to time. So, I did like him also. Terry Hoffmeyer. Dennis?
I'm not sure is this the extent of what he included?
Yeah, it's a,
Okay, don't know much about him. He didn't include a lot, except for that he's with the city of Holland. 28 years, 14 as a city manager. He's with Hart for 3.5 years, Village of Douglas for 6.5 years, and a few other things. He's been in this position as an interim city manager before. Obviously, my biggest concern about him is what I read is what we know, what information he gave us. So that doesn't set well with me at all.
There you go. Mike?
Tom knows somebody that knew him personally, so he's got a little bit of a background. So,
Jerry?
I just think as well on him, and of course as everybody, I know the issues you have was in Wayland, but other than that, there wasn't really much here to go on. So, no, he wasn't maybe my third choice. That was about it for him.
Not much more than what's on the sheet here. I tried calling a couple of people I know in Holland and Wayland. Didn't get a call back from them, so I didn't really get a chance to ask them any questions.
I was disappointed that we did not have more information than what we had. We had 3/4 of a sheet. I'm not one on a big resume, but on the other hand too, I'd like information more than what I had here, so did some digging, couldn't really find anything. So I think that's the biggest thing that I had the issue with is even though he has credentials here where he was, it's just too many gaps for me. George Strand. Last one. Dennis?
His resume is very detailed, several pages. He's done a lot of different things, marketing, strategic planning, economic development. He's had, like one of our other candidates, he's had a variety of experiences in small towns and big towns, namely Battle Creek, and Middleville, which Homer, very similar communities. I didn't see anything that I guess was alarming to me or anything that really stuck out. He would, to me, I think he's kind of a middle of the pack individual, so.
Maybe.
well, I know he got fired in Homer, and they kept him working as a contract employee until they got a new city manager in place. But other than that, I don't really know a lot about him. I was just reading up some stuff on him, and it didn't say exactly what the problem was, and he never offered to make any kind of a statement. There was some issues with him and staff at Battle Creek that seemed to really stick out in some of the articles. So he may be one he's got an impressive resume, but I think he's got some demons.
Jerry?
Yeah, what I found is, again, Homer, I got this from the Battle Creek Inquirer, June 29, 2007. I think the reason, when I'm reading here, he was seeking another post and he was having conflicts with staff. And then in 2009, this is from MLive, he actually had the same problem in Middleville. The council fired George Strand, who has served as village manager for about 2 years, the members citing lack of communication and failure to cooperate with staff and department heads. In Battle Creek, Mike alluded to that, what I found is the the Battle Creek Inquirer took him to court in 2003 for not providing a 350-page document, and they took him to court, and the Battle Creek Inquirer won, and the judge ordered him to turn over the documents. And that was his problem in Battle Creek, so I'm not sold on this guy. He doesn't look like he wants to cooperate with staff, and I think that's very important, so he's at the bottom of the list.
Thank you, Jerry. Tom?
Kind of the same thing, my concern was the Battle Creek incident was on FOIA, that he was refusing to give it out, and we've already been discussing that problem here, so I don't think he's one we should be involved with here, refusing to give out FOIA information.
I also found out a lot of the information that's already been addressed here online about Mr. Strand, so he would not be on my short list. So next would be Robert Thompson. Yes?
Obviously, we all heard his presentation, or what he had to say about himself. Been affiliated with the council, several boards in the city, he's a lifelong resident. My concern is that that's all the experience that he has. I don't think, I think he'd have the best interest of our city at heart, but again, my biggest concern is that he really has not a lot of experience managing municipal employees and the various departments that are within our city, so.
Thank you. Mike?
Most of Bob's experience is in corporate America, and he has had some very good jobs over the years where he was in charge of a lot of people and stuff and whatnot all. He's got the background to put up with people. The problem is he wants it to be a temporary job, not until he's 66. Well, he's just getting ready to turn 65, so, you know, he can't afford to quit his job to come here and be interned for 3 months and then have to go back and start worrying about a job again. He's looking to fill this up for a year and a half, and which would definitely give us time to do something, but you know, it's still, he's been on and off the council, and it's always been because of his job that he's had to quit, because they've transferred him or they've, you know, changed his structure around what he's doing and stuff. The last time he was on, he always had Tuesdays off, and then he got a new boss, and that was the end of Tuesdays off. So, but Bob's been involved in a lot of things over the years here. He always comes back to Belding, he moves away, and he always comes back. So, he wouldn't be the worst one we have, as far as, you know, an intern. But I just can't see him doing it because of the fact that, you know, he doesn't have enough background probably to fulfill the position. And we know right away that it's only temporary, so.
Jerry?
You know, you could hear Mr. Thompson's passion for the community as he spoke.
Oh,
But I'm with Dennis Stewart. We're in the middle of a budget time, and having no experience, I just don't think that's gonna benefit us right now, what we're looking for as far as intern.
John?
Same concerns, I've known for a long time. As for managing staff, I think he could do a great job, but to be familiar enough with the budget situation, I shouldn't say budget situations, but because we're in the process of forming a new budget for the next year, I'm not sure he has the experience for that, and then also some of the construction projects and stuff that still have to be signed off on. We'd almost have to have a consultant come in and do some of that work, which would cost us extra also.
I also feel the same way, that Robert has the community, the best interest of his community at heart. I do feel that we need someone a little bit more qualified to be able to hit some of this with their feet on the ground running, because of what we need to have in place. So, from what I hear, from what I see, we have 3 candidates. What I'd like to do is, it's come down to Bruce Brown, Reed Charles, and possibly Terry Hoffmeyer as being a 3rd person. We can interview all 3 of these. I would like to take an individual vote on all 3 of these candidates. And I would like to be able to set a time, if at all possible, to help City Hall out, to help Becky out, to get some of these things moving ahead, which, if at all possible, is going to depend on 10th, 11th, and 12th, somewhere in that area. If these gentlemen are available, first I'd like to find out, or have a motion to accept. Let's take a vote on this with Bruce Brown. Dennis, or Cream, can you start the vote on that, please, for an interview?
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Scheid?
Yes.
Mr. Lallo?
Yes.
Mr. Gunderson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Next would be Reed Charles.
Mr. Scheid?
Yes.
Mr. Lallo?
Yes.
Mr. Gunderson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Next would be Terry Hoffmeyer.
Mr. Lallo?
No.
Mr. Gunderson?
No.
Mr. Jones?
No.
Mr. Cooper?
No.
Mr. Scheid?
No.
So as it stands right now, we have 5 for Bruce Brown, 3 for Reed Charles. We have none for Terry Hoffmeyer. I would like to include George Strand on that roll call, Robert Thompson on that roll call, and Donald Beavers on that roll call. Vote 2, please. We start with George Strand.
Mr. Gunderson?
No.
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 Absolutely.
Robert Thompson?
Mr. Jones?
No.
Mr. Cooper?
No.
Mr. Scheid?
Yes.
Mr. Lallo?
No.
Mr. Gunderson?
No. Next would be Donald Beavers.
Mr. Lallo?
No.
Mr. Gunderson?
No.
Mr. Jones?
No.
Mr. Cooper?
No.
Mr. Scheid?
No.
The vote being called, we are down to 2, which would be Bruce Brown and Reed Charles for interviews. I would ask that, with council's permission, that Cream could contact them, find out what days are available. I would ask city council at this time if they have any conflicting days as far as the 10th, 11th, or 12th, which would be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week.
I'll make it.
I prefer Tuesday and Wednesday.
Tuesday and Wednesday?
Or Wednesday.
Or Wednesday?
My-
Okay.
That'd be my first preference.
Okay.
7:30ish. My wife comes into the airport at 4 o'clock, so depending on what time I pick her up and the plane's not late, that would be the only issue on Wednesday.
On Wednesday? Okay.
After 7:30 or something.
It shouldn't be, like I said, she gets in at 4, so it shouldn't be a problem getting back here by 7, that's where we're different.
What about, we have a Friday available. What we can do is we will get this posted to the public, make sure they know about it. We will contact the two applicants, Crane, and find out what days are available with what council is saying. If we have to do some,
No, Mr. Cooper, Thursday for sure not.
I could make it, but for, again,
Tuesday or
Tuesday or
Wednesday,
Wednesday,
okay.
yes.
I'll check with him according to that.
we have had to have council meetings on Saturdays before, so if that is special meetings, if that is necessary.
I'll make it whatever day it is.
I know you will like to have in the past. So. Alright.
Review the 11th, I'm not sure, I know that's the meeting of the Labor Day Committee, they may have to move with their schedule here. Labor Day has moved, so.
That being said, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Call the vote, please.
Yes.